So now welcome to another video. It's Dan Show, and today actually with a very different video compared to what you've seen so far. So it's gonna be the best player in each of the top 5 leagues this season. Now, it's gonna be in this order: Premier League, La Liga, Serie A, Bundesliga, and Ligue 1. Now, let's get right into it. So, for me, obviously, Erling Haaland, the monster machine, the goal machine. For me, the second best player in the world right now, not just the best Premier League player. So, he's got an average of 1 goal a game and 3 assists. So, he's on 1.2 GAs per game, which is outrageously good for the Premier League. Almost an 8.0 rating on average. He hasn't got any cards, so he's been on the fair play side also quite good this season. Now, he scored against Madrid, scored an important game against Sunderland, and just also literally won against Italy with Norway and scored 2 against them. So he's been an absolute monster this season. Now he's on a, you could say, Ballon d'Or run, especially if he does well with Norway in the World Cup. Now for Manchester City, if he keeps bagging those goals, he's even outperforming his XG by 0.6 in the Premier League. Now, if he keeps scoring like this, Manchester City might even win the Premier League. They are only 6 points off Arsenal, still have 1 game in hand though. Also, non-penalty XG, fantastic. Very good shots on target ratio with over 50%. 3 assists as well, not too bad. With only 1.18 expected assists, so he more than doubled that. So he greatly outperformed his expected assists. Even for successful passes, it's all right for a striker of not the greatest technical ability, which he is. Actually, assists and dribbles we really don't need to look for because it's Erling Haaland. He's not that type of player. But even there, he has decent stats. These are the most important, of course, shooting. Now, for me, next player would be Kylian Mbappe. For me, the best player in the world this season. Now, I also say this because he's easier on the eye. I think he's more of an X factor player than Erling Haaland. Obviously, Kylian Mbappe. He has 20 GAs with 16 goals in 16 matches, which is also more than 1.2 actually, over 1.2 GAs per game. He's got the highest average football rating in the top 5 leagues this season. Now, you could argue that in La Liga it's a bit easier, of course, than in the Premier League. Yellow cards, 3 already. Yeah, he's got a worse temper than Haaland. I guess makes sense. He had a fantastic game against Bilbao the other day. Yeah, 4 goals against Olympiacos, so brilliant game there. He had no problem qualifying for the World Cup. Also, 55 goals in 94 games for France. So he's on his way to be one of the most successful goal scorers in international football history if he keeps going on like this. Now, he has outperformed his XG even more than Haaland. Yeah, because he also scored some long shots, especially, and he can create a goal out of nothing with his speed, dribbling, with also his ability of shooting with both foot because he's bipedal. Now, non-penalty XG also very good. 4 penalty goals. Assists actually underperformed. That's because of his teammates. Aside from Mbappe, we really don't have someone with a killer instinct. Yeah, Jude is not on that much goal duty this season because he's playing deeper, and Arda Güler is playing the advanced midfielder role in this Real Madrid system. Successful dribbles, decent with over 55%. Now, obviously, he also tries a lot. Now, generally, with those type of stats, you're looking at currently the best player in the world and also a very good chance to win the Ballon d'Or, especially if he does something with France at the World Cup. So Mbappe, fantastic so far. Now, obviously, he's currently injured, and we would have needed him in the game against Manchester City. We might have won it if he was on the pitch because he's Madrid's best player by far this season. Now, for Serie A, also not a striker for the first time, it seems like. Now, you could also go for someone like Christian Pulisic in this league or Hakan Çalhanoğlu by Footmob rating, or even Alexis Saelemaekers. However, Nico Paz, you have to give this kid so much credit. Now he's already on 70 million market value, which is crazy for a 21-year-old. You don't see that often. The young Argentinian, we actually sold him, but we got a buyback clause for him for 10 million, which is could be the bargain of the century. He's already got 10 goal contributions in 14 matches. He's the most advanced midfielder for Como. Now, Como is a very new project actually, but even within 2 years of going up into Serie A, they've already established themselves as a great mid-table team and have ambitions to play in Europe as well. And he is their main man. Without him, it's very similar to Real Madrid without Mbappe, but I think in Como it's even worse. If you do have a bad day of Nico Paz, or if he's not in the team, they don't play well whatsoever. So he's the most integral part of that team. And he has 5 goals, which is almost double his XG because he also scores long range. He has a wonderful left foot. Now, the assists also outperformed because he had some really nice through passes, which, yeah, many people don't score, but he has a very good striker up front actually with Alvaro Morata. Successful passes, accurate long balls. Yeah, this is not the best of his traits this season. Subpar stats below 50%. Successful passes is decent. Chances created, fantastic. Now he's not a great crosser, but he also doesn't cross that much. Only 9 successful crosses, as you can see. Successful dribbles, decent for a man of his size with 6'1" in stature, 186 centimeters tall. A lot of touches. He's the catalyst of the game, creator, the heart of Como's midfield. Also decent defensive stats. Because of this and his well-rounded stats, actually, it would not shock me if Nico Paz came back to Real Madrid next season and took the advanced midfielder spot from Arda Güler. Because in the big games, you also need someone who can defend, who can run, who's physically imposing, and with his height, stature, I think he can develop into that player if he's not already. Why do I say if he's not already? Because Serie A within the top 5 leagues have the least distance covered. So it's actually a less athletic league than the other 4 leagues. So there will be a slight transition period to La Liga again. Not obviously not as bad as to the Premier League. It's not as physical as the Premier League, the La Liga, but an adaptation period he will need, especially for those big Champions League games, I think. But he's another Madrid gem and not just a option for squad depth. You could potentially be looking at a future superstar of Real Madrid. Now, on to Harry Kane. This guy, man, honestly, he's on 17 goals and 3 assists in 11 games, has the second highest rating in the top 5 leagues. He's almost, 20 goal contributions in 11 games. It's almost 2 GAs per game. Harry Kane is outrageously good this season. Outrageously. He's the best in GAs per game. GAs per minute probably as well then. So you're looking at a guy who almost performs twice as well as his expected goals, so he should have like 18 to 19 goals. If you say it's twice as well, it's 18 to 19 goals, and he almost has that. He has 17 goals, so expected goals is 9.67 and he's on 17. Holy shit, how does he do it? So he completely screws over any Bundesliga goalkeeper. Non-penalty goals, penalty goals 5, which just means he has 12 non-penalty goals. Also a fantastic stat. 3 assists, but only expected assists of 1.5. He is very good with long balls, playing through balls to the likes of Olise, Musiala, Lennart Karl, Gnabry. So he is not just a finisher, a poacher, he's also a chance creator, very good one at that. Now, decent dribble rate, very calm on the ball, Harry Kane. Better stats than Erling Haaland here in terms of dribbling especially and passing. Now, defending, yeah, doesn't really matter for a striker. Now, obviously Harry Kane is someone who can play the attacking midfielder role, receiving the ball, or a false nine / attacking midfielder receiving the ball, playing runners in behind, playing long balls, almost being a catalyst for an attack and creating chances as well as finishing them. Now, if he does something with England at the World Cup or wins a treble with Bayern, which is very well in the realms of possibility, then this guy could also be a candidate for the Ballon d'Or. I think he is, because he's the fourth best player in the world right now after Haaland, after Mbappe. So fantastic season for Kane so far. And Bayern will be cruising to the Bundesliga title, even though currently it's, you might say, closer than they wanted to have. But if Musiala's coming back with Leonard Carl getting more minutes and more minutes in this team and getting better, with Olise getting better and better as well, they won't have any problem winning this league. And they are still, even if they lost to Arsenal a few weeks ago with 3-1, one of the favorites for the Champions League as well. So Harry Kane, props, fantastic season so far. And Vitinha, I think the best player in Ligue 1 so far. Now, there is also a case for Mason Greenwood, who's already on like 15, I think, GAs this season. So now, Vitinha I've chosen because he has shown it in the Champions League as well, how good he is. Now, you could make the same argument for Mason Greenwood, but Vitinha has been even more consistent, and I wanted to give it to another midfielder here. Now, he's on 7 goal contributions. He's, well, I would consider him an 8. Some consider him a 6, so he's between defensive midfielder and central midfielder, so a 6 or an 8. Fantastic rating with 7.77, 7 goal contributions. Now, he is part of, or the gem, I want to say, of that midfield alongside Joao Neves and Fabian Ruiz. The best midfield in Europe last season, won the Champions League. Now, still one of the favorites for this year's Champions League as well. And you can look at the stats here. Passing, 94% successful passes, reminds you of Toni Kroos, what he's doing here. Expected assists 2.56, but actual assists 6, so he's outperforming that, which means he can do wonder passes like long balls and backheel passes and every kind of skillful pass you can think of. Accurate long balls, also fantastic with 76% chances created for a 6/8, very good stat as well. Now, he's not the best crosser, as you can see here this season. Now, this is generally the Ligue 1 stats, of course. We can then also take a look at the Champions League stats, because for Vitinha that would be quite interesting to see. Now, successful dribbles, also 2 out of 3 dribbles he wins, very good. And he is with Portugal, obviously one of the favorites, or like top 5, 6, 7 teams in Europe right now, so he could also do something with Portugal. For him, it's also a question of what he does with PSG in Portugal. Well, if he has a deep run in the Champions League with PSG, he could very well finish high in the Ballon d'Or again, or a deep run with Portugal in the World Cup, and how well he performs in the World Cup, obviously. On the Champions League, Vitinha's already on 4 goals, which is amazing, by the way, for a midfielder. Also had that hat-trick against Tottenham Hotspur, where Thomas Frank called him the next Ballon d'Or winner. He said it's going to be a PSG plant. He didn't say Dembele, he said Vitinha. So that is a big compliment there from Thomas Frank. And already XG out of 1.28 with thrice as many goals, 4 goals, penalty goals 1, so he's got 3 goals from open play. Very good stats across the board from Vitinha. Also decent defending stats, very good possession and passing stats overall. So he's in his own right a complete midfielder, Vitinha. Now, what is your guys' take on the best player in each of the top 5 leagues this season? I want to hear from you guys. What do you think? Do you agree with this list? Are there any more people that should have deserved a mention? And do you also think I've had a howler with some of this one? I've got some completely wrong. Let me know in the comments below. Also subscribe for more videos, and I'll see you very soon, guys. Take care. Ciao.